when I was reading your story, one of the major effects that you actually affected you personally was how glyphosate affects your gut health. So this is like a very intimate story and something that you've gone through. So can you sort of give us through your journey and your story on, what was the effect and how does it actually affect your gut health?
So eventually when I kept on testing for various things, one thing that did pop up was an autoimmunity marker in my blood work. And I was surprised. I don't really know much about autoimmunity, except that there's a huge explosion in autoimmune conditions in this country, and actually I think in most Western countries. Autoimmunity being that the body starts attacking itself. And functional medicine really focused on what is it about the gut and what is it about the integrity of the gut lining that is so critical to our health and often not detected, frankly, by like most of Western medicine. And something that we know that glyphosate does, other toxins can do it too, but this is the most obvious one that we're all exposed to in our diet all the time, is cause something called leaky gut or gut dysbiosis. What happens, and I know this is the case with me and many other people, that it seems to be predominantly women that I see dealing with the autoimmune conditions, but once you realize what's happening, it's really appalling. So the integrity of your gut lining can really be messed up and effectively let toxins out of the intestine and into the bloodstream when they never should have gotten the bloodstream in the first place. These chemicals like glyphosate and frankly the POEA, which is the surfactant, which is another component of the Roundup formulation, and that surfactant is a soapy substance that allows the glyphosate to better penetrate into a leaf when it's sprayed. And you think, okay, so then you're consuming this. Where is that going? What is that doing to the human cell, right? Like, what's that doing to your gut line? And it all really makes sense that little holes are being made in our gut and the toxins are leaking into our bloodstream. So that's when, my body started attacking itself. And by eating organically and then taking probiotics and trying to revamp and fermented foods and all those things that we hear about from the functional world, I was really able to heal it. Although occasionally if I slip up, I can feel the autoimmunity kind of creeping back in. If I go on a bender and have a week of, eating things I probably shouldn't, I feel it creep back in. I'm like, oh man. But what was interesting is that, and very frustrating to me, is the Institute of Functional Medicine. I consider it sort of the leader in collecting and organizing functional medicine research and doctors. And there's a great training program that's there to teach people, okay, this is another approach to medicine and it's really root cause based. And a lot of times, and almost always, it comes back to the gut, actually. What's very frustrating to me is that organization has every opportunity to be saying, oh, and here, they'll say pesticides also impact. They will never say it's Roundup and glyphosate, ever. And it makes me nuts. I'm like, obviously, and I've asked the scientists and doctors one-on-one, they're like, oh yeah, but they can't talk about it because their research will be pulled or they won't get funding and they're really hidden to talk about it. So the Institute doesn't talk about it, which is a big missed opportunity. But if you talk to most functional doctors, they're like, oh yeah, glyphosate.